I just finished setting up this 2019 Sherco 125 for my wife to ride, and I figured it was the perfect time to show some of the adjustments I make to make her more comfortable riding. These tips should help any smaller riders getting into the sport. I would say the biggest thing is to get them on a 125. They're much easier to ride, much easier to start. The rider can build their confidence and skills without worrying quite so much about whiskey throttle and the bike getting away from them. Moving on to the controls, a smaller rider is going to have much smaller fingers and hands, so it's important to adjust the levers closer to the handlebar. You can adjust the reach of the lever to be closer by turning this in, and you can adjust the engagement to be closer by turning this out. These S3 quick adjusters are great. You can dial it in just where you want it. If you need even more adjustment, you can grind away at this tab, which will allow for the engagement point to be very close to the handlebars. The front brake and the clutch should really hardly even work with me riding it, but it's perfect for Hannah, who has much smaller hands. The lever angle is right in the middle, not too high, not too low, which makes it easy to reach no matter where you're at on the bike. Moving the levers in on the handlebars also provide a little more leverage on the controls and a smoother, softer pulling clutch. The newer diaphragm clutches have different combinations of parts that can be used to tune the clutch to the rider's liking. If you have an older model with a 6-spring clutch, you can remove 2 or 3 of the springs to lighten up the clutch pull. There are also different levers available that can change how the clutch feels. I kept the stock grips on for now. They are a smaller diameter than I like, but they're perfect for her having smaller hands, and when they wear out, we can upgrade to S3. Although I don't have them on now, bar ends are a great idea. The bike is going to fall over, and that just keeps it from ripping up grips. The black throttle tube provides more rotation in the throttle, which smooths out the power. Since she has much more narrow shoulders than I do, I figured she should also be running narrower handlebars. So I cut the handlebars down 3/4 of an inch on each side, and that seems to suit her pretty well. I also changed the handlebars from the stock bend to the S3 World Team replica bars because they are lower. S3 also makes a mini bar, which are even shorter than I have these cut down to. I set the handlebars up pretty far back, which keeps her hands closer to her feet, and it also makes the bike feel smaller. It makes the bike ride more mellow too, keeps some weight off the front end, and keeps the front end from being twitchy. A tether is a great idea for anyone's bike because it protects it in a crash. But in this location, it also provides another way to kill the bike without having to take their hands off the bars, which in a sticky situation, this can give them some confidence. They don't have to worry about getting to the rear brake and letting the clutch out or taking their hand off to find the kill switch. They can just pop it with their thumb and the bike will shut off. Moving on to the foot pegs, these are S3 hard rocks, which are adjustable forwards and back. I have them in the furthest forward position, which brings them closest to the handlebars for the shortest distance between their hands and their feet. I have the rear brake in a lower position than stock, and I also put a small screw between the pivot point, which keeps it from extending back all the way. This puts the lever closer to the foot peg, which makes it easier to get with her small feet. You can also take a punch and dent in this tab here, but then it's harder to remove, so with the screw, it stays put, and I can take it out if I want to. I don't know how much she weighs, and I'm probably not going to ask, so I'm going to leave the suspension completely stock for now. I'm just going to watch how it reacts once it's broken in. If it's riding too high, I'll loosen up the preload on the front and rear to try to get the ride a little bit lower and make sure it's working right for her. I left the fork height right in the middle, which is a good balance between front end stability and tight turning. I installed the S3 flywheel weight, which further smooths out the power, makes it harder to stall, and just makes the bike easier to ride. Running a high idle will also help keep the bike from stalling until the rider has developed solid clutch and throttle control. These protective pieces from Trick Bits are a great idea to keep the bike from getting too beat up. Light riders can get away with very low tire pressures. I'll start with 5 in the front and 3 in the back and go up or down from there depending on conditions. A larger rear sprocket will slow the bike down even more, but since Hannah has already developed decent throttle and clutch control, I'm hoping we won't need that on this bike. That's all for now. Turns out I actually do more to her bike than I do to my own. Hopefully these tips will help you smaller riders out there get more comfortable on bigger bikes. Good luck!